Are you paying too much tax? It's a question we ask ourselves more, especially during tax time, but it's one we should ask ourselves all year long. You know, for a lot of people, especially in the United States, the answer is no, because almost half of Americans don't pay federal income tax. And all around the world, there are groups of people who pay zero or pay very little. Yet these people drive on the same roads, they send their kids to the same schools, they use all the same services, and that's the contract that we have as a society. But the reality is, if you are a 6- or 7-figure entrepreneur or investor, you're probably paying a disproportionate amount of your income as your fair share to the government. Are you paying too much tax if you earn a 6- or 7-figure income? The answer is probably yes. My name is Andrew Henderson, and in this video, I want to share with you a whole new way of looking at this social contract and explaining why perhaps you shouldn't be paying so much and what you can do to stop it. So here's the reality. The world has changed. I paid over 40% of my income in tax in the United States, even while I was traveling the world, even while I was meeting people and doing business in other countries. The fact that my home was in the United States, the fact that I had that US passport meant that I was going to be paying that amount of money, even while half the people in the country pay nothing. I was actually using far less of the services than the average person, yet paying far more. And the fact that the world has changed means that people are starting to look at that social contract and saying, I can do better. Here at Nomad Capitalist, we talk about 5 magic words. Go where you're treated best. And it wasn't that long ago that we didn't have the internet. You couldn't go home and use your phone to create a side hustle. You couldn't make millions running an online business from anywhere in the world. There was a time when you had to live in New York, you had to live in London, you had to live in Sydney, you had to live in one of the big cities, or you had to be a farmer on a farm somewhere. You had to be attached to the land, attached to a building. You had to go to work at the same place every day. And there were a limited number of places that owned where you could go and make money. If you grew up in the United States, you probably weren't going to go anywhere else. But now, not only do we have the internet, not only do we have the ability to create income from anywhere, anyone can do it, it's been democratized, but we also have countries all around the world developing. You look out this window here in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I remember watching a movie with Sean Connery back in the late 90s, and they would show the Petronas Towers here in Kuala Lumpur, and you looked all around the Petronas Towers, there was nothing happening. Now you look at this window, it is skyscrapers, 30, 40, 50 floors as far as the eye can see. Malaysia and so many countries like it have developed. And while you wouldn't have come here and lived 20 years ago because you couldn't have supported yourself and you wouldn't have known what to do and maybe you wouldn't have fit in, now Malaysia is one of the world-class places. Kuala Lumpur is as developed, in my opinion, and even more developed than many cities in the US or the UK or Australia. They speak English. There's every store you could possibly imagine, every restaurant. And so you can come to Malaysia, you can bring your laptop, you can start and run your business, you can make all your money from here, whether you're a consultant, whether you're selling a product, no matter what you're doing to make money, trading stocks, whatever. And you can live in Malaysia, you can make money in another country and not pay Malaysia. There are countries where they say, hey, we just want you to be here. We don't want your money from other countries. We just want you to come and spend your money here. We want you to live here. We want you to help build our country. And you can say that's a bad thing, but the reality is Malaysia wants to be successful too. They want to be like Western Europe. They want to be like the United States in the good ways. You can take advantage of that. And so you have the choice. Do I want to stay in the place I'm living now in the West and pay 40 or 45 or 50%? Or do I want to go where I'm treated best? People have this idea that somehow Malaysia must be not so nice because taxes are the price we pay for civilization, they say. So if the taxes are low or if the taxes are zero, it must be terrible. If you ever landed in Dubai or Abu Dhabi or in Qatar, you know that's not true. If you've ever been to Singapore and you've had a taxi whisk up to the airport terminal, you get right in. Beautiful new taxi, English-speaking driver, smart guy, GPS, efficient. You're on your way, you get there, and it's cheap. You know that taxes aren't the price we pay for civilization. You know the fact that people like Jim Rogers, investors, can go and live in Singapore and pay very little tax while enjoying one of the most efficient and sophisticated places in the world to live means that the system in the UK, the US, and everywhere else in the West is broken. Here's the question you really have to ask yourself. Would I tolerate being treated this way, paying 40 or 45%, when I could be paying 0 or 5 or 10? Would I tolerate that kind of treatment in any other environment? If there's a phone company that says, hey, our phone service is $100 a month, and you're saying, well, hold on, all the other companies are $50 a month for the same service. And actually, like this $100 a month service, like sometimes it kind of doesn't really work in my house. Would you just say, yeah, well, you know, I've been loyal to this $100 company? No. The beauty of capitalism, the thing that these high-tax Western countries was supposed to be built on, is that you can go where you're treated best. You can say, hey, for 50 bucks, for half the price, I'm getting better service. When I go to Singapore and I see people paying far lower taxes than they would in London, in New York, or in Sydney, I say to myself, not only are they paying a lot less, but these roads are smoother. Have you ever driven in California and feeling like you're driving on the surface of Mars? You go to Singapore and you realize, like, I'm paying too much and I'm not getting what I should be getting. I'm being robbed. The Western countries are still operating under a system where you can't go where you're treated best. You have to show up at, that office building every day. You have to show up at a job like it's still the madman era, like we're living in the 1950s, like you can't make money no matter where you go. You can't call your clients from Malaysia. You can't sell your goods from Panama. The choice that you have today, particularly if it's tax time, and you are sick and tired of sending a large check to the IRS, to the ATO, to CRA, HMRC, whomever it is, the choice you have is, do I want to go where I'm treated best? Or do I want to continue believing the propaganda that this is the only place to make money? I say the American dream, it's a concept. America is a concept. It's not a place. America is a concept of how to become successful, how to make money, how to live the good life. And what's happened in the last 20 years is not only has technology increased, but places have come up to where the world is becoming much more equal. There are places you can go and keep more of your own money. And if you are sending a large check, then I would consider you to encourage figuring out how you can go where you're treated best. That means watching the videos here on our channel. That means going to nomadcapitalist.com. It means making a decision that I'm no longer going to be stuck to one place. I'm no longer going to follow the system of the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s. That era is gone. You can stay with it, or you can go where you're treated best.
I'm Andrew Henderson, and if you're looking for a way to legally reduce your taxes, build your freedom, and create wealth faster as a global citizen, then you've come to the right place. I want you to do 3 things right now. Number 1, click the button to subscribe to our channel. Make sure to get notifications so you never miss a new video. Number 2, get a copy of our #1 best-selling book, Nomad Capitalist, on Amazon, and learn all the dozens of benefits of our lifestyle. And number 3, if you're already a 6- or 7-figure entrepreneur and you want to put these strategies in place, go to nomadcapitalist.com and find out how to get some help.